One of the things that I like to do when I'm feeling sad is to read books, and my favourite books are the books that I know my mum read in the past, and some of them even have her name on them, which I think is really special. These books take me to other worlds, they take me to worlds that she went to when she read them, and they really calm me down and make me feel better. So I'd really recommend reading books if that's something that the person you're grieving for used to do too.
Whenever I'm feeling sad and I miss my mum, I eat a Ferrero Rocher, which was her favourite chocolate, and look at one of the memories in this jar of memories, and that always cheers me up.
My biggest tip for dealing with grief and loss, other than talking to people about it, would be just to treat yourself with the kindness that you would treat other people. So if that's doing yoga and eating salad and that's what makes you feel good, then do that. If going into a room and being on your own and watching films and just crying, if that's what makes you feel good, then do that. Deal with it the way that you need to deal with it. And I think that's really important to say, because we get wrapped up in how we think we should feel or behave, that we sometimes don't think about what we need. So self-care is so important. Do what makes you feel good.
So I lost my father overnight about a couple of years ago. It happened suddenly, and the way that I cope is that I don't feel that I was robbed. I was gifted 27 years of an amazing father, something that a lot of people have never had, never will have. So I just feel lucky for the time that I did have with him. And to be honest, that's how I cope. It was a gift. It wasn't taken away from me.
Something that really helps me remember Mum is treating myself to flowers and clothes that I know she would have liked.
My top tip for grief would be to ask for what you need. A lot of the time people will say, I'm thinking of you, let me know if there's anything I can do. They don't know what else to say, and that's what they want to offer you support, but they don't know how. So say, I need someone to go to the shops for me, I'd love to go for a walk, I'd love you to come around for a chat, I need to be left alone. That really helps with self-care. So yeah, that would be my top tip.
So I guess my number one tip is to try and learn to just let yourself feel whatever it is you are feeling in that moment. I find that the desire to feel something other than what you are already feeling can just cause you to feel more pain. Anyway, it's kind of hard, but that's the biggest thing I've learned, certainly.
So when I find my grief is overwhelming, I go through this memory book that me and my brother put together for my dad, and it's got all our favourite photos, and we've written down all our favourite memories of our dad in there, and sometimes it's quite nice just to flick through it, and it reminds me of happier times. I've also got a page in the back of the book where I can write down all my thoughts and my feelings, and sometimes I find it's quite helpful just having how I'm feeling written down on a bit of paper.
My top tip for managing grief is to remember that everyone's experience of grief is individual, and there's no pressure to feel a certain way at a certain time. It's okay to have bad days just as much as good days, and if you're having a bad day, always remember to be good to yourself.
My top tip for managing grief is to talk, whether that be in person, on the phone, or over message. I always feel better after I've shared and released my feelings. I find it particularly helpful to talk to friends who have also experienced loss, such as those I've met through Let's Talk About Loss. Even though everyone's grief is unique, it's comforting to talk to someone who understands and can empathise, and this reminds me that I'm not alone.